Since 2004, Iowa livestock farmers have turned to the Coalition to Support Iowa's Farmers for free, confidential, and expert assistance in raising livestock responsibly and successfully. Join us at the Fenceline to hear from industry experts and farmers about topics important to livestock agriculture here in Iowa. The Fenceline, where the gates always open. Welcome to the Fenceline. My name is Bob Quinn. The Fenceline is a production of the Coalition to Support Iowa's Farmers, the livestock folks here in the state. If you have questions about livestock, maybe you're bringing someone back into your farming operation and livestock could be a part of that, or you're looking to maybe add on or build new livestock facilities, the first place to start is with the Coalition to Support Iowa's Farmers. You can find out more about their programs and contact them at supportfarmers.com. Today, we're being hosted along with the coalition by the Iowa corn growers, and the Iowa corn growers have a big interest in livestock here in the state of Iowa as well, to use about half of the corn produced. Recently, we had the opportunity to spend some time on the Zellmer farm. Alan is a livestock producer near Atlantic. Alyssa Preston joining me right now, our corn grower representative in South Central Iowa. You're crossing district lines here.
Yes, I am, Bob. Thanks for having me over in District 7 today, but I cover District 8. But of course, I'm always willing to travel over to District 7 and talk about the good work that Iowa Corn does, not only in South Central Iowa, but all over the state.
You were talking a little bit before we went on about the fact that, corn is what the corn growers talk about, but that goes into feed, and we're going to talk to Al. He's got a feedlot here. It also goes into ethanol, and we are under the shadow of probably one of the largest ethanol producers in the state of Iowa with Elite Energy here. So you can see the whole thing. You look out the window, and you've got livestock, and you've got four of the largest grain bins, almost largest, that the Sukup folks have put together sitting here. They grind into feed, which is used here, and then the ethanol product. I guess we told your whole story there in about a minute and a half.
Yes, we did. And I won't steal Alan's thunder. He can share that story with you as well. But yes, like Bob said, we are in Atlantic, Iowa today, and home of Elite Octane. And we are sitting at the Zellmer farm today, where not only do they have a feed yard, but they also grow corn, and they do the whole process. So from growing corn, they send it to Elite Octane, and then that dried distiller's grains comes back to feed their livestock as well. So again, full circle. And that's why at Iowa Corn, not only do we work hard for Iowa's corn growers, but we partner with our livestock partners as well and the U.S. Meat Export Federation, because we know that livestock is the end user of corn. Mm-hmm. So not only do we work on ethanol, but we also work on livestock policy as well.
You know, one of the things that you guys have been working pretty hard on, and more recently in Washington, is the E15. You're going to be back doing that again when it comes up in the Senate, I'm sure. But it is important to have that voice heard, and that's what corn growers provide to their members. But you have some roundtables coming up, I think, don't you?
Yes, that's right. So we are a grassroots organization, and so starting this summer, we always start our grassroots policy with what we call our roundtables, and those will be taking place, and we have those hosted in every district across the state. So in the 9 crop reporting districts, we will have one meeting where in every crop reporting district that members can attend, and that's where our policy process starts. Mm-hmm. So that is where we encourage our members to come, voice their opinions, ask questions, start the policy process. And from there, then those policies get brought to our committees at Iowa Corn and then to the board. And then from the board, then on September 9th, we will have our annual grassroots summit. And that is where our voting members and our grassroots members can vote on policy that goes into our policy book. So again, it starts at the roundtable process, and then it'll go to our grassroots summit that happens on September 9th. So as district field managers, we're always encouraging people to not only attend our roundtables that happen in June, but we're also looking for delegates to represent all the counties across the state of Iowa to attend that grassroots summit to help shape our policy for our corn farmers.
Well, I know you guys are busy all the time, but the last couple of months, it seems like you've been in fourth gear running pretty hard. And like I said, you're going to continue following with the E15 situation when it comes up in the Senate. So it's a big deal to be represented with your Iowa corn growers. So check out the meetings and follow along and join the Iowa Corn Growers Association. Alyssa Preston with us, the District 8 Field Manager with the Iowa Corn Growers. Well, as I mentioned, we are on the Zellmer farm. Let's talk to Alan. Being hosted by the Iowa Corn Growers and on behalf of the Coalition to Support Iowa's Farmers. And we are on the farm here near Atlantic. And talking right now with Alan Zellmer. Alan, our host for the day. Thanks for hosting us today.
Absolutely, Bob.
Tell me a little bit about your farm. So you got a feedlot sitting next to us.
We do. We are corn, soybean, hay. We're a cattle feedlot, and then we run a lot of cows. So we're really diversified.
So how'd calving season go for you?
It was excellent this year. We had the weather for it. Years ago, I was complaining to a friend of mine. We were having trouble losing a lot of calves. The weather was bad. And his comment to me was, Alan, you turned the bull out.
Did you give him a calendar so the bull knew what?
Well, I walked away from him pretty disgusted, but I realized how right he was. So we moved our calving season. We calve a lot later. We try to calve on green grass.
Yeah.
And we calve twice a year. We have spring and fall calvers.
Now, I asked you on the way up if you're in hay season yet.
Yes.
So you've had cutting already.
The majority of our hay is a grass hay derivative type hay. We don't do straight alfalfa because we're blessed with an ethanol plant very close to us, so that's where we get our protein for the feedlot. But yes, we are done. Actually, the last hay is going to be raked and hopefully baled today before it rains, but if it rains, it rains.
So I've washed plenty of hay in my farming career as well. So tell me about your mix. You say you got kind of a grass mix out there.
Yeah, we use it more so for a scratch factor in our feedlot. The rations that we use in the feedlot are balanced by a nutritionist, and we just typically use grass hay, and then we actually overfeed protein because of the wet distiller's grain that we feed. Well,
certainly 95 degrees here the other day was hay cutting season, so I can imagine.
We cut it. We'd cut it in the morning, and you possibly could bale it that afternoon. The humidity had to be really low.
We're on a farm here back when Mark Pearson was with us on the radio. This has been many years ago.
Yep.
And it was just the first time we'd ever seen a tedder. Ever seen a tedder?
Yes.
A tedding machine. And so they had this hay crop laid out, and it was kind of wet, and you're going to run the tedder down there. And Mark and I didn't know what they were talking about, so they ran off with that thing and put it through there, and this hay started flying out the back. And Mark was jumping up and down. Stop! You're scattering the hay all over the place, which is exactly what it does. For those folks who are not familiar with it, they spread that hay back out so they can get her dried out and then rake it back up. So
yep.
You're under the shadow of Elite Energy here, and I don't mean that in a mean way at all, but you've got four of the largest grain bins I think I've ever seen.
Yes.
Sitting not too far from here. And you mentioned that that's had even changed your hay farming practice here.
Absolutely. The product that comes back out of an ethanol plant is by far superior to anything that we've ever fed or used in cattle. And I tell a lot of people that don't know anything about ethanol, the starch that's in the corn kernel goes out the backside of the animals. They can't utilize it. And so now we put that in our cars to power us down the road, and then the product I get is by far superior. It's actually kind of like a pre-digested product.
And you had made a statement, because I was asking why you joined the Corn Growers. We're hosted by the Corn Growers, and I would like to find out, how long you been a member?
40-plus years.
40-plus years?
Yes, yep. And I've always felt that you need to stand behind your industry. And the biggest problem about us farmers are we get busy doing our work, and we don't have time to support and stand up for ourselves. So that's the reason we have Iowa Corn.
You had mentioned that were it not for Iowa Corn Growers, you wouldn't have an ethanol industry here in Iowa.
Absolutely. I truly believe that. That ethanol industry has helped us in agriculture unbelievably. And in fact, I'm told, I can't verify this, but I'm told that in South America, they just increase the percentage of ethanol in their fuel to help support their farmers. And man, we need that in our business right now.
Well, we're trying to. Lots of folks are pushing to increase at least 5% more to get that bottom line up to a 15% level instead of 10, which is pretty common across the country right now. And on behalf, just in that alone, corn growers done a lot of work.
Oh man! And the other thing that we discovered is through a previous administration, apparently you used to be able to always buy a gas vehicle that would burn E85. And my wife and I purchased, I think it was a 2018 model. I didn't know any different. I pull up to the station, I put E85 in it, and the thing won't run. And I realized then that they had apparently somewhere removed that from the cars, or the requirement. And I don't know why we wouldn't go back to that.
We burn in the pickup, the corn grower pickup that we have is an E85 pickup as well. So, hey, what's your genetics you're using in your cattle out here?
We are Wagyu producers.
Really?
So we run a pretty large full-blood Wagyu herd, and basically we do that to develop bulls. And then we breed those to Angus cows, which gives you an F1. That's your first cross out. And that's what we feed in our feedlot. And we have an incredible amount of demand for it, and we need more producers that are willing to breed their cows to the Wagyus.
So what's the difference in feeding? Is anything you noticed?
I always refer to it kind of like a bottle of wine. We slow them down. You can make them gain 4 pounds a day, but the intermuscular fat by far is superior in the Wagyu.
Well, we're going to have Alan hold on to that thought. We're going to talk more about the Wagyu cattle that he is producing in just a little bit. You are listening to the Fenceline, a production of the Coalition to Support Iowa's Farmers. These are the livestock folks here in the state. Brian Waddingham, Executive Director with the Coalition, joins us now.
We're at the Alan Zellmer farm today, and we are talking corn grower issues. We're talking cattle industry a little bit, being hosted by the Iowa corn growers and, of course, the Coalition to Support Iowa's Farmers. Brian Waddingham with us. Brian, I think you were on with me, yesterday, day before?
Yesterday.
Yesterday. We were talking about inspections going on. Let's pick up the conversation a little bit because we're here on a cattle producer's farm. Talk about what's going on out in the countryside.
So we are seeing increased inspections going on all across Iowa, but really targeting up in northeast Iowa, maybe southeast Iowa is getting a little bit more. So we're just wanting to make sure that farmers know their rights, make sure they're prepared for a DNR or EPA inspection. And we certainly offer free and confidential services to come out before an inspection to kind of give you an assessment and maybe peace of mind that your farm would pass. But we can also come out post-inspection and provide you some ideas and opportunities to make any corrections that were pointed out that you need to make.
So, again, step me through the process. You get a phone call, and somebody says they want to come out and inspect your farm. Then what?
So then, they throw out a date they want to come out. If your calendar is clear that day, if you're not selling cattle or you have other appointments, you can certainly have them come out. We always tell farmers to make sure they walk around the farm with them, with the inspector. Always recommend that they have another family member or a third party also there to take notes, take photos when the inspector does, and just really kind of listen to the conversation, write things down. So you have a written record of what was really said that day. And then once the inspection's over, usually within 60 days, you'll get an inspection report listing any deficiencies you had, and they won't tell you how to fix them, but the coalition is on those sheets as a resource to come out and help you fix them.
So you're getting calls from cattle producers, I know.
Cattle, dairy, hogs, turkey, some poultry. So kind of all facets of livestock and poultry in the state of Iowa right now. So, again, if you've got some questions or maybe thinking about putting up a barn, we can come out, make sure you site it in the correct location, interpret the more than 250 pages of rules. And then also through our network, we can connect you with some of the companies that are maybe looking to place pigs or cattle or so on. If you're a beginning farmer just starting out and have questions, we can help you with resources, both financially as well as make sure you get things cited in the right location. We can connect you with others that we think can help you, but also those established farmers that are looking to grow their farms, maybe add a new species of livestock or just grow what they currently have. We can come out and make sure that you are going to do it responsibly and successfully, and make sure you're not going to have any surprises down the road from an environmental inspection.
Now, you also have a tree planting program.
Yeah, the Green Farmstead Partner Program is, we've got 20 nurseries that we partner with to make that program work, but it basically involves coming out to the farm and putting windbreaks around new livestock barns and feedlots.
Well, Brian, again, how can we get a hold of you guys?
You can give us a call anytime, 800-932-2436, or visit us online at supportfarmers.com.
Supportfarmers.com. That's where you find the Coalition to Support Iowa's Farmers. Big thank you for being our host today, along with the Iowa corn growers.
And speaking of the Iowa corn growers, Darin Proffit is with us. Darin is the Corn Promotion Board District 7 Director and Research and Business Development Committee Vice Chair.
And Darin, you're a local guy.
Yes, I am. Yeah, I'm out of Southwest Iowa, down in Page County, Essex, Iowa.
We're talking before we went on here about your entry into agriculture. What's your background in farming?
Yeah, it's a different one, an alternative one. I didn't come from acres, is what I like to say. I came from St. Joe, Missouri, and every summer I grew up right here in Atlantic, Iowa, at the airport. My grandpa ran and crop dusting. So
how about that?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, loading airplanes and meeting all the farmers and kind of understanding row crops from that side.
You know, when Dwayne, every summer, he's up in Rockwell City, and he's not too far from the airport. He goes over and talks to the crop dusters. Those guys come from all over the country.
All over, all the southern states. You know, the SEC definitely is where a lot of them come from.
The SEC. We're into a sports competition now already. Well, how'd you get involved with corn growers?
So, actually, I had a friend of mine down in the Fremont Page County Association reach out and say, hey, why don't you come to one of our meetings with us? And I kind of got an interest there with that. And 2 meetings later, he was kind of getting busier in life with kids and everything. And next thing you know, I'm the county president of the Fremont Page County Association. So I went from that and then just started getting more involved. And now I've done past I Lead 11 alumni, our leadership development program.
Oh, yeah, that's a big deal. That's a big deal.
Research and Business Development Committee vice chairman.
So Research and Business Development Committee, you guys looking at new products then?
Yeah, we're starting to. I mean, well, we have been for a while, but we're kind of revamping our list and going through some products that we hadn't looked at, or maybe technologies came farther now than it had 10 years ago, and we can reanalyze whether or not those products can be used again to use corn as the base, as the feedstock.
You know, we were talking about a lot of the products we see that have been developed from corn that you normally wouldn't think about being developed from corn. Some of the plastics and things like that, and some of the fabric even that's being developed, were actually developed with corn grower dollars that's invested through the Iowa Corn Growers or Iowa Corn Promotion Board.
They are, yeah, right through the checkoff that I'm proudly a director of. Yes. And
it's important to be involved with that because that's your future users. Now, I understand livestock and ethanol. You're talking about the big guns out there. But there's a lot of uses for corn.
There really is. I mean, there's thousands of uses, and it's in a lot more stuff than people realize. You know, the ethanol and the feed take it because they're 2/3 of our consumption, but that other third is a lot of industrial use.
Tell me what you'd say to young folks to get them involved in the corn growers. You're a young guy, and you're recruiting me now.
Well, first I would say we all have an opinion, and it needs to be shared. You know, the people listening that might know me, they'll know that I like to share my opinion, and I like being a part of something that I can see the difference. I mean, look what we've done to the ethanol industry, as you and Zellmer were talking about. We created it. Yeah. And that it takes all year round is something that, I mean, the young people need to realize. You know, this stuff doesn't just happen.
Darin, thanks for talking to us a little bit today. Darin Proffit with the Iowa Corn Promotion Board.
And it is important work, developing new products and also having your voice heard on corn grower issues with the Iowa corn growers. Well, I want to get back to the Wagyu bloodline of beef cattle we're seeing here today at the Zellmer farm. The 2 Zellmer sons are involved in the operation. We're going to visit with them a little bit.
You bet. In fact, I have a couple of young corn grower members with me right now. It's the Zellmer boys. We're on Alan's farm here. Alan and Brenda Zellmer hosting us today. We're near Atlantic, and I'm going to talk to the young fellows who do a lot of the work around the farm and have been for quite some time, I would imagine. Ethan is talking with me right now. Ethan, tell me a little bit about the farm. We know your row crop operation. So how many acres of corn you plant?
Right now we're majority corn. we've got close to 1,400 acres of corn, and then about 800 acres of beans.
You do any chopping on your corn?
No, we don't.
Do you haul corn into the ethanol plant?
Yes, we do.
That's a big deal, you know. To talk a little bit about the importance of that, because when you were growing up, probably the ethanol plant wasn't sitting there.
No, there was no ethanol plant. It's made the basis around this area so much better, and it's 5 miles from home, so it's makes trucking a lot easier. And it's dual use, because not only do we haul corn in, but we also take DDGs out.
So you're feeding the DDGs out of there as well?
Yes.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about that DDG product. That a big deal for you?
Very big, very big. It's been a game changer, and we've been feeding it for quite some time.
We're talking about ethanol in different blend levels now, and you go to the gas pump, and you can usually see, if you don't know anything else about it, look for the cheapest one on there is usually the highest blend of ethanol, and you get all the way up to E85. And then you go to that unleaded 88 product, which is the 15%, or E15, which we've been talking about now. And then your base is like E10. So, we've had ethanol in gasoline for quite some time. But corn growers had a big role. What you guys do contribute to and talk about to like legislators and things, and bring ethanol around here.
Not only has it made things sustainable, but we're producing our own fuel right here in our backyard.
Who's this young fella sitting on your lap? I want to talk to him a little bit.
This is my middle son, Oscar.
Oscar, grab on that microphone.
Okay.
How are you doing?
Good. How about you?
Oscar, how come you're not in school today?
It's summer break and
I thought maybe you came out just to see the radio show today.
Nope.
No, that wasn't it. Oscar, you're off the air. No, I'm just kidding.
I didn't even know this was going on today.
So you're in summer break already here?
Yep.
Where do you go to school at?
Here in Atlantic.
Atlantic. And how long you been on summer break?
About 5 days.
The rest of the world don't go on summer break for about another week. How'd you guys get so lucky out here?
That's just how our school district goes.
How about that? Son of a gun. Well, thanks for talking to us a little bit today.
Yep.
We sure like having these young guys involved in agriculture. We got another young fella here, one of the Zellmer sons, and I'm talking with Gage right now. I want to talk about the cattle herd. And we heard a little bit ago that you have the Wagyu genetics in there. Tell me about that. Why do you use that? Why do you use those genetics?
Main reason we use those genetics is for the marbling side, and there's a premium for that high marbling beef. And we also are able to do negotiated sales instead of sell it to the large packers.
Where do you have to take your cattle for processing?
Majority of our cattle go to Texas for processing. We do have some that go to Minnesota and some that go to Omaha.
We're seeing that Wagyu come back in. What's the difference when you look at the meat? What's it look like?
Just your marbling scores. The standard Angus marbling score, we blow that out of the water, so that's why there's a premium for it.
Does it hang any different on the rail? You get any more lean meat out of it, or we're pretty much the same?
No, it's still the same. Just the main difference is your marbling.
Now, we were talking to your dad here a little bit ago, and I was asking him about the feeding process. We ran out of time, so I'm going to ask you. He said that it's a beef you have to slow down a little bit. What's he talking about?
Yep. So we're an all natural, no implant feedlot. So the cattle are on feed a lot longer. We're not really trying to crank on them as hard as you would your average commodity animal, just so that we get that marbling score that we're aiming for. So time gives you marbling.
What's your rate of gain? Do you figure?
We're doing averaging like a 1.8 to a 2.2 on an average daily gain.
So as far as finishing out, then what's the time difference?
We'll have cattle on feed for upwards of 400 days, depending on obviously when we get them. But we want them on hard grain fed for around that 400 days.
Have you talked to folks who've eaten that beef? I mean, what's your consumer feedback? I'm interested. What do they think of that beef?
Once they eat it, they love it. A lot of people won't go back. They'll only buy Wagyu going forward.
And then how heavy are they when you feed them out?
We averaged at 1550 on steers and 1450 on heifers.
Gage Zellmer. And we are talking about corn-fed Wagyu beef today. You're listening to the Fenceline. Fenceline is a production of the Coalition to Support Iowa's Farmers. We have a very special guest to visit with.
And I have a special guest. What's your name?
My name is Nancy Zellmer.
And Alan is your son?
Yes, he is.
And Nancy, I heard a story about you. You used to be on radio here.
Well, as a matter of fact, I did for quite a number of years.
What did you do on the radio?
Oh, I did a little bit of everything. I gave horoscopes. I talked about the new babies. I had a daily program, interviewed people. I did a Sunday program with one of my bosses, Bob Quinn, that people used to know around here. And if there was anything that needed to be talked about, they just gave it to me.
If there's anything needed to be talked about, you took her over. That's right. I like that. You also was the homemaker on the radio.
I was the KJN homemaker.
KJAN homemaker. How about that? I grew up listening to radio. I was a big WHO fan. That's where I'm at now, you know. And there was a homemaker down in Shenandoah. Her name was Billy Oakley. Did you ever hear of Billy Oakley?
Absolutely. I traveled one time with Billy Oakley. Yes. She was quite a gal. She really was.
In the Kitchen Clatter Show.
Yes, that's right. My mother-in-law always had their Kitchen Clatter magazine, you know, or their paper. Yeah. And so I'd heard about Billy Oakley, but then I was on a trip, Cass County Cowbells. And Billy came along. And
we're bringing back a lot of memories for producers. Now the Cowbells, I don't believe it's a cowbell organization, although they're trying to get started again. I think they call them something besides cowbells. But go ahead.
Well, the whole thing was the farmers went on trips, and the wives decided they needed to go on a trip too. So
you were that rebel rouser around here then, huh?
That's what we did, and we had a lot of fun. Billy and I actually interviewed a captain of a barge, and he asked and we were dressed in high heel shoes and skirts and blouses, and he said, would you ladies like to see how we unload the grain and how we load the grain? We said, well, certainly. And we had to climb up a metal ladder carrying the tape recorder was a reel-to-reel, and it was as big as a house, and it was quite a challenge.
That's right. That is spot on. Well, thank you for coming by and saying hello to us.
You bet. It was fun.
I just could not pass up the opportunity of talking to a radio personality on the fence line today. Well, we need to get back to business here. Let's talk with Adam Bierbaum. He is the Iowa Corn Grower District 7 Director and Industrial Usage and U.S. Production Chairman. And Adam, number one, you're a local farmer here.
Yes, yep, I farm just outside Griswold, and so sort of the southwest corner of the county.
Something just popped up on the radar screen from a meeting that was held yesterday. I know you guys have some members at a hearing was being held in Texas to maybe launch a little investigation into the fertilizer industry, I believe.
Yep. Yeah, it's something that Iowa Corn has been involved in for quite a few years now, is looking at what's going on with the fertilizer pricing and fertilizer companies. It's a market that really only has probably about 4 major companies, and they can control the market pretty easily. And so Iowa Corn has been pushing, through Senator Ernst and Senator Grassley of trying to investigate this and see what is going on. So the chair of the Federal Trade Commission did announce that they are doing an investigation in the fertilizer companies and what the pricing looks like and how they're pricing their product and availability of their product and stuff. So that's something corn growers are very happy about.
Well, and we're glad to hear that number one, that the investigation is going to be held. But that's one of the reasons when I ask about why is it important to become a member of the corn growers.
Yes.
Because you had a seat at the table. Maybe you didn't, but your organization had a seat at the table.
Exactly, right. Collectively, we can have a large voice and make sure that everything is being done. So, yeah, it's one of the reasons I'm a member of Iowa Corn is because I see what we can do collectively. And like I said, I can't do everything, but, together we can do a lot and make sure our voice is heard.
So how did you get involved with corn growers?
So I started on the collegiate advisory team when I was a senior at Iowa State. I got involved on the collegiate advisory team. I was looking for something, to do my next step after Iowa State, and I thought corn was a good place to start. So I started on the collegiate advisory team, sat through meetings, and learned more about what corn was doing, and I became involved, and I really enjoyed it, making sure my voice is heard, and I can raise the same issues that many of the farmers have across the state are the same ones we have, and so it's a good way to make sure that I understand what's going on outside my farm, but then the issues that I have on my farm I make sure and raise.
Adam Bierbaum with the Iowa Corn Growers Association. Iowa Corn Growers Association unifying and amplifying that corn grower voice, one of the important things about membership. We're going to wrap up our Fenceline broadcast with Brian Waddingham, Executive Director of the Coalition to Support Iowa's Farmers.
Now, Brian, we're on a farm here that is diverse for production. We've got livestock and grain. We've got corn grower, soybean grower, hay producer as well. I got kind of tied up with the cattle part of it because it's interesting, the story on the genetics they're using here. They're using kind of a specialized genetics with that Wagyu beef breeding in there that consumers apparently like.
Yeah, it's a great alternative. It provides a little more fat, a little more intermuscular fat, a little bit better marbling. Some consumers really prefer that over traditional beef, and that's a great thing about Iowa's cattlemen, and they can adapt to the changing needs of the consumer and fill everybody's needs.
Yeah, no, it is. It's a great story with that. I want to get back to what you guys do, though. You actually did some work with these folks.
Yeah, we
early
did.
On.
Yep, early on back in the day, we helped them with some barn siting, some barn placement, and then some questions later on when maybe they had an inspection.
But that's what you're all about, is providing that information, that background, that resource for farmers.
Yeah, that's right. We can come right out to the farm, sit down with the family, kind of determine where they're at today, where they want to get to, what resources they have available, and then hopefully make it all work for them.
Well, who should be calling the coalition?
Whether you're a beginning farmer looking to put up your first barn or an established farmer looking to grow or maybe do something different, give us a call anytime. We're glad to come right out and visit with you, all at no charge and completely confidential.
And, of course, you can find out more at the website supportfarmers.com. Well, we're out of time for today. Thanks for joining us on The Fence Line. The Fence Line is a production of the Coalition to Support Iowa's Farmers. My name is Bob Quinn, and I'll be talking to you next time.